Thank you for joining us for this Kansas Campus Compact orientation video on the Careers for the Common Good program. I am Matt Lindsay, Executive Director for Kansas Campus Compact. In other points of these training modules, I will be joined by other members of the Kansas Campus Compact staff. Before we go into any of the orientation material, I want to thank you for your commitment to participate in Careers for the Common Good and AmeriCorps. The program would not be possible without your skills and dedication. By the time you finish your service as a student teacher, nurse, nonprofit intern, or anything else, you'll have fulfilled AmeriCorps' mission to get things done for America, built stronger relationships between your campus and the surrounding community, and hopefully discovered an enjoyment in teaching, providing health care, or leading a nonprofit in a high-need part of Kansas that will lead to a valuable and rewarding professional career there. We're going to cover quite a bit of material in these orientation modules, and it's particularly important that you pay close attention, as all of it will help make sure the entire experience is a smooth and rewarding one for you. We've divided these presentations into 6 sections. The first one, the one you're watching now, is an overview of the goals of the Careers for the Common Good program and the requirements for participation. In the second section, we'll talk about the enrollment process and all the paperwork you'll need to fill out. Third, we'll discuss how to manage your service, items like timesheets, reflections, etc. Then we'll go over the process for exiting after you finish your service. In the 5th video, we'll cover the various policies that AmeriCorps requires you to adhere to. And finally, we'll touch on a few common questions related to the Education Award, like how much is it, and how and where can you use it. Each of the videos is intentionally short, so you can choose to watch one at a time or all at once as it's convenient. Keep in mind, however, that you cannot be enrolled in the program until we have verification that you have watched each video. At the end of the 6th video, there will be a form for you to print out and sign to verify your participation. I also encourage you to go back and watch each of these videos at various points in your service term. It's helpful, for instance, to re-watch the exit video just before you begin your exit process. That way, you won't forget any important steps, and you'll be able to quickly and easily use your Education Award. Without any further introduction, let's jump right into our first video here, which is the overview of the Careers for the Common Good program. Some of the organization, some of the terms you need to know. Since you're here watching this video, there's a pretty high chance, I'd even put it as close to 100% as I could, that you've heard of the Careers for the Common Good program. Here's a quick refresher. Careers for the Common Good, or CCG, has 2 goals. The first goal is to engage Kansas college students as AmeriCorps team members, to teach, provide health care, or contribute to valuable community nonprofit services in high-need communities in Kansas. Now that sounds pretty straightforward, right? People in Kansas need help. AmeriCorps members are part of that solution. This program has a very important second goal as well, and it's a valuable one for you to keep in mind when you or anyone else has questions about whether your practicum experience fits the goals of our program, whether you have questions about where you can do your service or what you can do there. While we are about providing service, as all AmeriCorps programs are, the Careers for the Common Good program is in the end about promoting careers in public service. Thus, we encourage Kansas college students to pursue teaching, healthcare, and nonprofit service careers in high-need Kansas communities. Now, this year, you'll be part of a team of about 200 college students participating across the state, following in the footsteps of more than 700 or so individuals who participated in the past few years. So I hope I've got your interest. Now what do you have to do? Well, the big thing is between now and July 31st, you'll need to complete 300 hours of service at an approved site. But there's a few other pieces that we should go over. First, you have to do a pre-service orientation. Well, guess what? Congratulations, you're doing that right now. One step down. Second, you need to submit a complete enrollment packet. In the next video, I'll walk you through that one. Hopefully, by the time you've watched all 6 of these videos, you'll have this step done too. Third, as I mentioned, and this is the core of your commitment, you need to complete 300 hours of service by July 31st, 2011 at an approved site. And you're going to need to log those hours monthly and turn in monthly reflections. You're also going to need to participate in a training seminar on community and campus partnerships. Now don't worry, it's not a big thing, and we'll get to this one in a little more detail later in Module 3. You'll also need to recruit at least 3 volunteers for service projects, either at your service site or elsewhere. Now this may sound a little bit daunting, but it's much easier than it sounds, and I'll have some more information on this in Module 3 as well. Finally, you'll need to finish your exit packet, which at the heart of it is the post-service exit survey. It's very important for you to do it, and it's very easy to do. Now, what do you get if you do all these things? What's in it for you, the dedicated, unpaid student? Well, if you complete all those steps I just described, you'll receive an Eli Siegel Education Award from AmeriCorps. This year, that award is worth $1,132, and you can use it to pay off school loans, or you can use it to pay for future tuition as you continue your education. That's right, for doing an internship, for doing student teaching, for doing your nursing practicum, any of these other experiences that you are going to do anyway as part of your degree, you're going to get over $1,000 provided that you meet the CCG program objectives. Now, there are a few times in life when you're going to come as close to free money as this is. As I've implied a couple of times already, CCG has 3 focus areas: education, healthcare, and nonprofit service. It's pretty much the 3 of the big career fields that are about meeting the common good. Now, many members participate in the education focus area. Most of them are doing their student teaching, but their service can also include academic mentoring, coaching, providing family literacy or job skills training, or serving in early childhood education programs. Likewise, there are a lot of members who choose the healthcare track. These members might be doing a nurse practicum or an internship with an EMS or other emergency health service, or maybe supporting a community nonprofit mental or occupational health clinic. A few members also choose the nonprofit service track. These members sometimes do an internship with a legal aid organization or an environmental protection group or a food pantry, just to name a few. Now, across all 3 of these focus areas, there's some common criteria. They are: you need to be doing your service at a not-for-profit site in Kansas, you need to be uncompensated, and you need to be doing it with the intention of exploring such work as a career after you receive your degree. Now, with this in mind, it's a good moment for us to pause for a moment for you to verify that your planned service with CCG meets these criteria. If it doesn't, take a moment and talk to your campus coordinator. See if they have any suggestions that will fit both the CCG goals and your academic program requirements. So you should push pause on your video right now and make sure you're ready to proceed. There's one more layer to the site criteria that we should cover, just for those planning to pursue the education focus area. The goal is, as I said before, to provide service to high-need communities. Thus, we want Careers for the Common Good members who work in education to help address low achievement in underserved and academically struggling public schools. Members in the education focus area must do their service at either a Title I school, a school that is classified as high poverty, which means they either have at least 50% student eligibility for free or reduced price school lunch, or be on the National Low Income Schools list. Schools also qualify if they fail to meet state educational assessments, or if it's a high school with a dropout rate above the state average. We've compiled a full list of eligible schools in Kansas and posted them to our website, which you can find on the link that's going to appear on your screen any moment now. Though our list on the website is for K-12 public schools, private schools, charter schools, and early childhood education centers may also qualify. If you wish to serve at one of those other schools, you'll still need to obtain evidence that the school meets these criteria we're discussing, either from your supervising teacher or principal or some other official at that institution. Additionally, your service cannot involve any form of proselytizing whatsoever. Now, there's one other way that education members can qualify here. If you're planning to teach, and your focus will be either math and science education, special education, or bilingual education, you're going to qualify regardless of the school that you're serving at. Research has shown us that these 3 areas are in great demand in all parts of the state, and pushing more people to pursue these teaching fields will have a great impact on the quality of our education in Kansas. So if you're using one of these criteria, it must be your primary responsibility. If you're student teaching in a 2nd grade classroom, and you have a mixed class that includes 1 or 2 special education students, but the rest are not special education, you might not qualify here. So make sure it's your primary activity. There's another piece of eligibility that we should go over here, and that applies to you rather than your service site. Because you are participating as a member of AmeriCorps, AmeriCorps members have to meet the following 3 criteria. You have to be at least 17 years old, you have to have a high school diploma or GED, or agree to be working towards one while you're serving, and you have to be a U.S. citizen, a U.S. national, or a U.S. permanent resident. If you don't meet all 3 of these requirements, unfortunately you cannot participate in Careers for the Common Good. It's another moment to push pause on your video. Make sure you're prepared to attest to you've met all 3 of these criteria. Now, I've been throwing out a number of organizational names as I've gone along, so before I continue, you should make sure you're familiar with a few of them. The first is Kansas Campus Compact. That's my organization. We run the Careers for the Common Good program. We're actually an association of institutions of higher education, all committed to strengthening and furthering civic education as a means to improve student learning, civic responsibility, and the connections between campuses and their communities. We're part of a national network. There are campus compacts in 35 states representing over 1,100 schools across the country, including 13 right here in Kansas. Another name you'll hear regularly is the Corporation for National and Community Service, or CNCS. CNCS is the federal agency responsible for overseeing all of the domestic civilian service programs sponsored by the U.S. government. This includes AmeriCorps, AmeriCorps Vista, Senior Corps, NCCC, and Learn and Serve America. Now, one you're going to make sure you know about is AmeriCorps. Kansas Campus Compact is the sponsoring organization for Careers for the Common Good, but the grant and support comes from AmeriCorps by way of the Kansas Volunteer Commission. AmeriCorps was established by the Clinton administration in 1993, and its purpose was to provide support and resources to connect citizens with service opportunities in their local communities. Now, the first class of AmeriCorps members numbered over 20,000, served in over 1,000 communities across the U.S. Today, that number's grown to almost 75,000 members participating in community service every year. AmeriCorps members make a huge impact on the amount of community service done in the United States each year. AmeriCorps members contributed over 62 million hours of community service in 2005 alone. They recruited and managed over 1.37 million volunteers to help them assist in community service projects. Now, while those are fantastic statistics, one of the most exciting is this last one. 86% of former members indicated that their service experience and training helped to a great or moderate extent in their job, educational pursuits, or community service activities. It's why AmeriCorps is such a great fit for our program, for your campus, and communities across Kansas. And it's why I think you'll see it as a valuable asset in your own academic and professional pursuits. Now, I've got one more slide full of definitions that I want to make sure you all are familiar with, because these are about some people and titles that'll show up in your paperwork. When we refer to a member, that's the student doing the service. In other words, that's you. We'll also talk about site supervisors. This is the person responsible for supervising you at the actual service location where you're doing your service activities. At a school, it's your supervising teacher, for instance. At a nonprofit, it's probably your internship supervisor. You can go on and on that way. The thing to remember with site supervisors is you, as the member, are responsible for regular communication with your site supervisor. You need to make sure that they understand you're participating in Careers for the Common Good as part of AmeriCorps, and that they have an obligation to help you by approving your timesheets online. It's the only way we're going to get you to your 300 hours where you can qualify and receive your education award. Let me restate it. You are responsible for communicating this program's goals and obligations to your site supervisor. You should have met your campus coordinator already. The campus coordinator is your point person on your campus who's responsible for administering the CCG program there. He or she is your first line of questioning when you have concerns or questions about the program. It's who you turn your paperwork into, and he or she is your best friend when it comes to making sure you get your education award. So be nice to your campus coordinator. He or she can be your best ally in this program. Finally, there's a title called Program Director, which is kind of a shared title by the staff here at Kansas Campus Compact. Primarily, it will be Leanne Smith-Desper, who you'll meet later, and myself. Leanne and I are the final arbiters within the CCG universe. We can answer many of your questions, but it's often helpful for you to start with your campus coordinator with those. Now that you've gotten an overview of the Careers for the Common Good program, we can move on to Part 2, Member Enrollment, which will explain how to fill out all that enrollment paperwork in your packet you should have received. So at this point, stop this video and click and move on to the second